Well, welcome to another reaction video. Today, we're going to be responding to a panel discussion hosted by Vice magazine on assimilation in America, which, well, everything we do here is fun, but this should be fun. As we begin, I want you to notice that the guy with the necktie begins talking sense, and it clearly registers with some of the other participants as though he were blaspheming, which I guess in a manner of speaking, he is.
Okay, so statistically, it is true that Asians, right, on average, make more money, in terms of medium, make more money, better test scores, get into better colleges, all that stuff. I think the question is, why is that? And I don't know, model minority, whatever that label wants to mean.
That's actually a myth because we cannot be...
Well, no, listen, well, let me finish my point. We need to observe what makes people successful and unsuccessful. And I think when you look at trends that are generally true in the Asian community, not of everyone, but are generally true, usually you have families that are sticking together. You have, people are taught to work hard in school, not get into trouble. I think that translates to why Asians en masse are successful. And I don't think you have to be Asian or white for that matter to not have kids out of wedlock, not, commit crime, not cause trouble or whatever it is. It's just a matter of common sense. That's what makes people successful. And if that's so-called assimilation, having a nuclear family, buying a house, going to school, whatever it is, then yeah, okay, call me a pro-assimilation then.
I think there's a difference.
So it's quite striking that the two in front of this gentleman are reacting as, when he says something like, you don't need to be Asian to not have kids out of wedlock. and they act like he just threw a dead cat at the high altar, and he's saying, look at how he's assimilating to a certain kind of Western way, jacket and tie, and how she is assimilating to another Western kind of way, purple hair, ripped jeans, and so on. And they are speaking from within those particular subcultures. He is paying attention to older truths that were handed down in our culture, and they are stridently defending some of the newer fangled truths that are currently wrecking everything.
There's a difference between assimilation and erasure.
Yes.
The way that you're kind of going about it seems like, okay, of course, we want to be in community with people. And I don't think there's a problem with being in community with people from different backgrounds. That's not the issue. It's also embracing the diversity that we inherently have and accepting that and being okay with that and celebrating that.
That's very idealistic, I think, but I think we should acknowledge the fact that diversity, quote unquote, is not a factor that is our strength. It's not a factor that historically or even in the current strengthens societies. People don't come together, form societies, form families, form communities because they have nothing in common. They come together and do those things because they have something in common, right?
Yeah, you can't assimilate without assimilating. It would seem to me. You can't join without joining. You can't team up without teaming up with. If you say, I'm going to assimilate, and the body that I'm assimilating with is going to be my mortal enemy for decades to come, another name for that is not assimilating. And if you say that, well, what we're going to do is we're going to have this society of all these different diverse perspectives with very little in common, then that's not assimilation either. They're going to be constantly at war with each other.
Talk about race in such black and white terms. The way you talk about it is it's either with America, whatever your definition of America, or not. You're talking in very black and white terms, and that's actually the problem in discussing race because we're Asian.
She's speaking in very black and white terms. There are people who speak in black and white terms and people who don't speak in black and white terms. She is standing for an empurpled binary.
Americans, we're neither black, we're neither white. When you're having a race discussion, you can't be talking about in such lines. Yeah. Everything is in the gray.
The more common that a society has with one another, the more likely they are to work together and build things in society and not constantly be fighting each other and at odds with each other.
Did you think the Japanese internment was a good thing? Because that was a real assimilation situation.
That was the opposite of assimilation. So when you go in and round up all the Japanese Americans and put them in camps, in separate camps, that is not assimilation. Let me. God.
You know what I mean?
No,
Do you
I
recognize
don't.
that the term assimilation has negative history and facts associated with that word? So we do have to be careful in how we choose, because assimilation for people of color have not been good to us historically. That's factual.
The whole reason assimilation has not been good to people of color is because they weren't being assimilated. You can't say assimilation is the enemy because they wouldn't assimilate us. Right? Where do these people come up with these videos that they make me watch?
So let me ask you.
We're discussing the model minority myth
but
and the fact
Japanese
that
internment is a classic example of assimilating Asian Americans.
no,
So
it's
do you
not.
think
It's a
that-
classic example of internment. I mean, they intern people. Like it's not-
Golly. That's like taking a cup of flour and throwing it in the garbage and saying that you just assimilated it into the pie dough. It's the opposite. You don't know what you're talking about. The point this gent is making about success being anchored to or the result of intact families, the installation of the inculcation of a work ethic in the children as they're growing up, having a direction and a purpose, family loyalty and family honor. All of those things are self-evidently true. To deny them is to fly into the teeth of things that used to be known as facts.